Hi, today we're going to go over lesson 8.4, and it's over angles of elevation and angles of depression. And this is just an extension of SOHCAHTOA, sine, cosine, and tangent. So the first thing you need to know is that angles of elevation and angles of depression are always formed with a horizontal line. So when you're looking at something, there's a horizontal line that goes straight out from your eye like a laser beam. Now, that is the horizontal line. Now, you're either from there, you're going to look up at an object or you're going to look down at an object. So when you look up at an object, you have an angle of elevation. You're looking up. It kind of makes sense. Elevation, it's going up. Angle of depression is when you're looking down at something. Now, let's look at the little pictures over here. As you can see, let's erase some of this. As you can see that there's always this horizontal line, and it helps you make a triangle. And if you're looking up at an airplane, and it forms a triangle. And so they're going to give you different angle measures and different side lengths, and you're able to find unknown values using trig. The same thing as if you're looking down at the river below from a cliff, you have that horizontal line. Remember that laser beam that comes straight out. And then if you're looking down, and it makes a triangle. And again, you can find missing sides. So let's just start with the first one. If you're a lifeguard looking down at a swimming pool, so again, you have that little horizontal line, and you're looking down into the pool. And suppose you're looking at the pool and your line of sight is 55-degree angle. So there's your 55 degrees. It's already in the picture for you. I'm just trying to help you know why it's where it is. And you are 10 feet up. So the 10 is how far up the person is. How far is the swimmer from the base of the lifeguard stand? So this is your X. Okay, so once you draw the picture, this is exactly what we did in the previous lessons. Exactly. So from the angle that you're working from, what two side lengths do you have? You have the opposite and you have the adjacent. And you guys know tangent is opposite over adjacent. So that's how we write it. And as you can see, I already have it here written out for you. It's the tangent of 55 degrees equals 10 over x. Now you might say, how do you get all this down here? Let's just scribble it out and I'll show you. So let's put the tangent 55 over 1, and we're going to cross multiply. So 1 times 10 is 10. And then when you have x times tangent 55, the x goes in front, and then you have tangent 55. Now, you're wanting to solve for x. So whatever is next to x, you have to move by using division. So I'm going to divide by 55 on both sides. So I'm left with 10 over tangent 55. Okay, and as you can see, that's what I had over here before I did the little scribble. Okay, let's grab a yellow calculator. Let's type it in. 10 over tangent 55. And on my calculator, I have 7.00207. Now, normally we round this to, now let's see, does it say on here? How far is the swimmer from the lifeguard stand? I mean, if it doesn't say, I usually round to 1 decimal place. My calculator says this. So, I mean, that just rounds to 7, and the unit is feet. So you're 7 feet away from the lifeguard. Okay, I'm going to zoom in on this picture. Now it says describe each angle as it relates to the situation. So guys, this is just angle of elevation, angle of depression. So if you're this bird here and you're looking down, this is angle of depression. But if you're in the balloon looking up at the bird, this is elevation. But if you're in the balloon looking down at the hill or whatever that is, if you're looking down, that is depression. And if you're on the land here looking up at the balloon, you're looking up. So this is elevation. Okay, so how, again, a lot of this, I'm going to explain how to get there. If you're this person here, how do you get home? Again, you're just going to do what we've been doing, guys. You're going to say how, which trig function am I going to use? I have the adjacent, I have, oh my, go away. I have the hypotenuse. So I know cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So that's what I'm going to use. So I always start by saying my trig function. I'm going to use cosine, the angle I'm working from. And then I say, where's my adjacent side? The adjacent side is the 600. Where's my hypotenuse? My hypotenuse is x. Okay, so I'm going to put this over 1. Now, we're cross multiplying. 1 times 600 is 600. And then cosine 51 times x. Remember, the x goes in front. And then just like the previous one, I'm going to divide by cosine 51. And then you just type into the calculator. I would push the numerator denominator button on your calculator. 600 on top in the numerator. Your denominator is cosine 51. Push enter. Now you're going to round this off. And again, let's do 1 decimal place. So on my calculator, I have 953.409. So that 0 tells the 4 to round down. So I have 953.4 feet. That's my answer. So if you're in the sailboat and you're looking up at the plane, this is angle of elevation. If you're 75 yards away, now we know that the 75 is the adjacent side, and we know the x is the opposite side. So since there's no hypotenuse, we know that has to be tangent. Right there, tangent. So tell me what angle you're working from. You're working from the 25-degree angle. And then you're going to say, what's the opposite side, which is x? What is the adjacent side? Well, that's 75. Now, I typically put this over 1, and then I cross multiply. Now, this one's going to look a little different than the previous two. 1 times x is x. And now I'm going to erase a little bit so I can tell what that number is. Okay, and so then I'm going to do 75 times tangent 25. Remember, the 75 goes in front of the tangent. So when you type it in exactly as you see it. So 75 tangent 25, enter. So x equals 34.973. Okay, well, how does this round? If I round it to one place, that 7 tells the 9 to round up. So this ends up rounding up to 35, and I believe it is in yards. So let me just throw that on there, 35 yards. You really don't need the 0.0. Okay, so as I wrote on here, there's a question very similar to this on your test. And I put in a lot of information on this picture already, but you need to, on your test day, you have to put information yourself. So just follow along. You'll get it. A fire ranger has an observation window of 75 feet above the ground. And notice that number was given to you. And if the person sees a fire in the distance, so this little thing out here is supposed to be a fire, and they take a reading of the angle of depression. So this means you're looking down, and it is 24 degrees. Okay, here's the tricky thing. A lot of people think the 24, and I'm going to do this wrong, they think the 24 goes here, but it doesn't. So here's what's really happening. If here is your building, and that's a horrible building, and here's your fire, technically, remember how you have that line of sight that's horizontal, and then you're looking down at the fire. So really, the triangle's flipped up like this. And that's really, and I hope you can tell what that's supposed to be. This is the fire. So the 24 goes up here, and you know it's 70 feet tall. So to me, it makes more sense to draw it this way. The other picture is deceiving because it's flipped upside down, and you want to put the 24 in the wrong place, and it is confusing. Okay, so what else do we know? It says, to the nearest tenth of a foot, how far away is the base of the tower to the fire? So they're wanting you to find how far it is to the fire, which across the top is technically the same as across from the bottom. So that is how far away it is. Okay, now this ideally would be how the picture would be drawn, but it's not. So we have this picture, and that's the way it will be on your test. So you have to know that the 24 is up here. So if the angle, how do I get 66? I take I take 90, and then I subtract 24, and I get 66. So this angle is 66 degrees. And I'm going to use that 66 degrees to help me. Now, if you remember, back to first semester, if these are parallel and the others are transversal, this is actually 24 because you have alternate interior angles. So these two are the same. So there's lots of ways to do this question. Now, we haven't even solved it. I'm just trying to explain how to put the numbers in the right place when the picture's not drawn for you. Okay, so let's set this thing up. And I'm just going to set it up putting the 66 in. So I'm going to say, from my 66, what two sides do I have? I have the opposite side, which I already have labeled. And what's this side over here? What's the 70? The 70 is the adjacent side. So opposite and adjacent is tangent. So I'm using 66 degrees. And so my opposite side, this is the side I need to find, right? So it is an unknown. This is x. What is your adjacent side? That is 70. Okay, so let's put the tangent 66 over 1 and cross multiply. 1 times x is x. What is 70 times tangent 66? Remember, the 70 goes in front. I'm sorry, the handwriting is really poor on this. 70 tangent 66. So guys, you just type this into your calculator. Type in 70 tangent 66. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. 70 tangent 66. So on the calculator, I get 157.22257, so on. Okay, let's round it to one place. So this rounds to 157.2 feet. That's my answer. All right, so I think that's it, guys. If you have any questions, please let me know. And we are now finished with the chapter. Yay. So again, if you need to review any videos, feel free to go back and review them. Thanks. Bye.